Hello, everyone. This is Damla Aktekin, and I'm here to talk to you about this thing that popped in my head as an insight about Saturn and Pluto. So, Saturn and Pluto are major planets in your birth chart and in the birth charts of the timeline, if you will. What I find interesting and sometimes don't agree with is that they're often talked about with the male pronouns. So we talked about Saturn as a he and Pluto as a he. Um, and they're associated with like male gods and so on. But I sometimes like to switch it around and think them in feminine terms and imagine like what they would be like if they were female and goddesses instead of gods. And gods and goddesses I use in the sense of Saturn and Pluto, like any element of the birth chart, represent archetypal elements that we find in our psyche and in our collective lives. They are also the archetypal forces that we all move through in our hero and heroine journeys. So, Saturn, let's start with Saturn. So, when I think of Saturn as a female, I am imagining this either this like stern teacher or this really tough mom who says, like, you have to do your homework. Like before you can have fun, you have to sit down and do your homework. And she keeps reminding you of that in different ways. And if she even senses like you veered off the path and you're going towards your video game or you're going outside, she's like, no, come back inwards into you and see, okay, this is the homework. This is the internal pattern you need to resolve and be with and heal and deal. Pluto, on the other hand, is a female character I find is a little bit more violent, a little bit more, you could call her like the dark mother. For me, Pluto, if I imagine her as a mom, she is the mother who says to you, looks at your teenage room, which is a mess. It's like a complete mess. And she says, if you don't organize this room by 3 p.m., I'm going to burn everything in your room. And she smiles, but it's not like a real smile. And then you're like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then in the end, she actually does burn the whole room. So she's a little bit more harsh at times. She represents the elements of like all or nothing in all of us. She also represents, there is a sense of cleansing in the burning, of course, once you're everything gets burned, you're forced to reevaluate and actually do Marie Kondo your whole room, your whole apartment, your whole life, and really decide, okay, what needs to stay, what needs to go, what comes in, what do I no longer need, and so on. And she might occasionally, just for fun, get to your closet and just burn your closet like a part of your life just for fun. Like she's like, that's the closet of your career that you haven't really figured out. Let me just burn things there so you can start over. So this idea of burning and starting over like the phoenix is definitely a thing with Pluto. There's Saturn in that same place. What would Saturn do if she just came into your room and she saw your entire life in shambles and in, in complete mess? Saturn would keep saying, okay, you got to do what you got to do. Today you're doing this. Tomorrow you're doing this. Um, and then if you don't follow, she would put like a barrier in your door. Like you can't move forward until you access the lesson, until you accept the lesson and say, okay, today I'm gonna hear Saturn and I'm gonna just do the Marie Kondoing. I'm just gonna put aside what doesn't work and what works. So just two different approaches, really. Pluto likes to burn things, and Saturn likes to put like reminders and obstacles on your path. She would be like, if you're trying to run this way, she would put an obstacle there, so you would course correct. Or if you're trying to veer, of course, she would put an obstacle there and you course correct. Um, Whereas you're supposed to run this way and you're running this way, Pluto just puts this huge fire here. So you're forced to first deal with the fire and then course correct. So, anyways, just what's been popping up in my head in terms of Saturn and Pluto as female, feminine archetypes, as the mothers, and it was really fun to imagine them as two different kinds of moms. So let me know if this speaks to you and if you really want me to look at other planets, other aspects of the birth chart or astrology in this way to imagine them with the mom energy. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell and like, share, or comment to show your support. Thank you so much.